only after I watched an interview by Aaron Russo on InfoWars.
Through the implementation of the Federal Reserve System, the government has become invested in these bankers, and they get their money from the bankers. Then they impose a tax on us, which makes us more slaves, makes it more difficult for us to survive, right? Giving them more profits. And now what's happened is that through the Federal Reserve System, the bankers have pretty much taken control of our government. It doesn't matter Republican and Democrat anymore, because they're both the same. Neither one of them are talking about shutting down the Federal Reserve System or stopping the payment of taxes. And the goals of the banking industry, not just the Federal Reserve System, but the private banks in Germany and England, all over Italy, all over the world, they all work together. They're all central banks, and they're all part of the Communist Manifesto. You know, central banking is one of the major planks of the Communist Manifesto. We talk about America being a capitalistic country, but yet at the same time we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there you have two major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System, okay? So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government.
And then I came across Leonard's film.
A short introduction. I grew up leading a wonderful life. I was an honors high school graduate with the highest mark in history award at 92%. I earned a double major in history while pursuing my education and arts degrees in 2 universities. Professors asked me to publish some of my essays. The future was looking bright until I realized that it's not what you know and how you can explain it, but rather who you know that counts. This presentation has cost me at least $5,000, and I'm giving it away for free.
And that changed my whole world. I finally got it. Like, it just clicked. And it was jaw-dropping to find out about Building 7, the Federal Reserve, all that stuff. Federal Reserve was really the big ticket in for me. It was like, are you kidding? Somebody else controls all of our money? And they own all the other banks too? Are you kidding? Like, what's sovereignty? What's an American? Like, what does that even matter at this point? And I started to kind of spiral a little bit from that research. I was shaken in my faith a bit, and it was only because of the birth certificate that Leonard mentions in the movie that I started going down that rabbit trail and studying that a little bit.
And you guys got to understand, Sam spent, he looked at other topics and things. While I was really going down deep on the Nephilim and creation, Sam went down really deep on the whole birth certificate thing. Like,
as deep as I could. I mean, as deep as I could without, like, being a researcher. I mean, I'm not a researcher, so I just try to find the truth for myself. But I'm not trying to necessarily document it for a book or anything.
You did a lot, though. I mean,
just a chain of events happened, like where I found out about like Natural Citizen, what's all this stuff, like on a Eustace Mullins website. Like somebody had made a comment about that thing, like the corporate, entity, and then you just coming across all these different things, and it really made me go, oh, man, why did I get my son a birth certificate? Like, why didn't I know about this? Like, I'm bonding my son into slavery. Like, it's okay if they got me. I don't want my kids to have to be slaves. And we already were into, like, the health thing because there was a family here at the campground, and they really got us up on all that health stuff and kind of alerted us to the vaccines, and so we didn't vaccinate. So God was really working with all that stuff. And prior to this paradigm shift, before that election, I remember I mentioned that girl that I sold Ritalin to, Jane.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is just one of those coincidences. I had so many. I won't even go into them all because there's just too many. But I was about to delete my Facebook, and my son was just born. This is before the paradigm shift, like months before. And she posts something about Helena Blavatsky and like Charles Darwin and like Hitler and just about this entire connection to the New World Order. And I'm like, what? New World Order? That sounds like Revelation. And all these little seeds are planted just like right before just in time for me to watch Leonard's film. And I was so, like, when I heard Leonard's narration and his voice, I was like, this dude just, like, his delivery, I want to talk to him.
What these people don't realize is that I'm doing this for them. They don't want to see what I see yet. I finally understand how someone like Adolf Hitler managed to fool the overwhelmingly Christian nation of Germany into believing that he was doing God's work. I now know that Adolf Hitler was a large part of an agenda that is so massive that it can't be fully described here. You had better care about this plan instead of sports or soap operas, because what happened to Germany during the Nazi era is happening to America and the West today. In a good 2 hours, you will learn the most important details of some aspects of what took me over 2 years to figure out. I don't know everything, but I know enough. Find out how to capture this presentation on your computer and make DVDs from it while we still have a free internet.
I want to meet him. This is so well put together. And again, like going back to the whole thing, I was kind of shaken in my faith through all this. Oh no. And then you kind of come across the zeitgeist thing, and you're like, well, is Jesus real? You start to kind of question a lot of things. And that's when my dad discovered Kent Hovind.
See, this word evolution has 6 meanings. We've been through this before, so I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. There's, first of all, cosmic evolution, Big Bang. Secondly, chemical evolution, where all the chemicals come from hydrogen. That's baloney. Thirdly, stellar evolution, where all the stars form from dust. You cannot get dust to condense into a solid star. Can't happen. There's Boyle's gas laws that drive it away, okay? Then there's enough stars out there, though we can all have 11 trillion to ourselves. Then you have organic evolution, where life gets started from non-living material. And then macroevolution, where an animal changes to a different kind of animal. None of those have ever been observed. Number 6, variations within the kinds, sometimes called microevolution. That one happens. The first 5 are religious. So whenever you discuss evolution, you have to define what you're talking about. If you're talking about number 6, I'm with you. I agree, that happens. If you're talking about the first 5, that doesn't happen. That's something you believe happens, okay?
And I have another person to thank. It's Kent Hovind and Leonard Ulrich, actually both of them, for continuing me in my faith after the paradigm shift, because those two coupled together were like the rubber band, man. And Kent Hovind's material, like, God bless Kent Hovind, because I started reading all that birth certificate stuff. My dad's like, he's in prison for like tax fraud. And I'm like, what? Taxes? What? I've seen Freedom to Fascism. I know what this is all about. And I'm like, what's his name? And I type it in, and I just looked on his Wikipedia, and I'm reading all the quotes from the court case and all that stuff. All the words that Leonard's talking to with Rob Skiba about, and like Jordan Maxwell will shout out when he's talking about like the UCC and all that. And I was like, okay, I think I just got a little piece of the case here. I think it's all making sense. Like he was doing the right thing. And so, yeah, I mean, this is real, guys. I mean, we're not playing. Like, this is the real deal. We are in it. We believe it. Daniel, wouldn't you say? I mean, we're getting there every day, closer and closer. God bless people like Canary Cry for talking about transhumanism and technocracy and all that stuff, because that's coming too. It's all coming. And we're not here to be alarmists. We're not here to be paranoid, but we're here to kind of at least spread the word.
You know, I've said to Sam, when it comes to the legal fiction, the straw man, and I've said it to my wife too. Elizabeth has asked me several times, well, what's the point of all this? Eventually they're just going to force you to do what they want anyway. And you know what? That's true. Eventually they're not going to care what the law is, if I'm a sovereign or not. They're going to put a gun to my head, and I'm either going to do what they want or not. Okay, fine. But you know what? They are respecting it for now. And if knowing that and being able to use that provides me with another week, a day, an hour, a year, whatever it may be, to freely share Christ without their hindrance, well, then it's worth it. Every minute of it. And you know, I really think, you know, just not to digress, to say here really quickly, I have been taking my summer staff here this summer, which is a Christian summer work group, through the book of Philippians. That's what we're doing in their Bible study. And we've been talking a lot about Paul's attitude, you know, to live as Christ, to die as gain. And this, it really comes back to what we're talking about with this legal issue. Christ is everything. And we need to give all for Jesus Christ, to put him first. And I honestly totally believe that that is why giving all for Jesus Christ, finding whatever way you can to continue to share him, and that's at the heart of this legal issue of figuring it out, is so that I may continue to be freely useful to him. Now, I can be useful in bondage too, like Paul, but if I can use this to further the gospel of Jesus Christ, then it has been worth it all.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's what I'm going to say about that.
I just wanted to say also, in our first episode, we were talking to Leonard a little bit about our wives and how they don't want to hear about this stuff. Mm-hmm. Our wives are coming along.
They are.
And I wanted to say this about your wife. Last, October, I think it was, she's in the store working, and it was, for Halloween or whatever, kids were dressing up. She's like, hey, Wesley could be a straw man.
Yes, she did. She told me about that.
It was so funny. I just thought that was cool. But our wives are really warming up to more about this stuff, and I don't think we're going as crazy about it anymore. That first.
Well, you guys know how it is. You go through your paradigm shift, and it's I think, what's Chris White's video? What do I tell people about the New World Order, or how do I tell people about the New World Order? And I mean, he's got it down, man. You're just overwhelmed. You're just like, the world's gonna end, and Chris has just got it right. You know what? You need to take a deep breath, step back, and do your research, and do it calmly and do it level-headed. Don't turn on the whole spigot all the way out with all the information to anyone who even asks you a question remotely related to it. Just a little question, a little thought, just let it go, let it percolate for a bit, if you will. Let the seed set, like Sam was saying. So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So I'll just wrap it up. I'll just say a few more things, and I thank you, Dan, for hearing me out. I appreciated it. I've never actually gone through all that with anybody.
I'm really sorry I fell asleep last night.
No, it's okay.
Boring, Sam. I wasn't trying to be a jerk.
No, I know. I'm not offended, man.
And thank you for coming over here tonight so we can finish this.
Yeah. When I came here to New York, I thought I knew who I was. I went through a lot of struggles as far as having to figure things out again and learn brand new things that I never planned on learning in my life. God has truly revealed himself in, like I said in that song, he's shown me what I'm worth. And he shows me that every day. Like I said in another episode with the chiropractor, I hurt my back. This is before I came clean with Mandy and really came back to Christ. You know that illustration of Jesus with a sheep where he's carrying him around his neck? Mm-hmm. And everybody looks at that and they go, isn't that sweet? Mm-hmm. Well, what's interesting about that is, yes, it's comforting, but when a sheep strays and gets into the bushes or goes somewhere, the shepherd breaks its legs.
Yep. Yes,
so that it will never stray again.
Yep.
And that illustration of Jesus, that sheep, imagine it, has broken legs. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like, even though I live with this injury now, not just the physical part of this, but having to reshape myself and pretty much give up music when I came here and do something completely different. God broke my back. God broke my legs to get me back with him. And I thought that I would just give music up entirely because of all of my experiences. And I thought it was over. I guess it's time to announce this, but